Welcome back to the Tiga Tactics Podcast, a show about self-defense for civilians by civilians. We discuss all things personal protection, including martial arts, combat sports, and street combatives. Our resident MANs martial arts nerds include co-founder of Tiga Tactics and holder of black belt in 9 different styles, Dr. Conrad Bui.
Hello, everybody.
We are missing Patry again for today's episode, but you are stuck with me, the other co-host, retired Army Special Forces soldier and champion obstacle course racing athlete, Evan Ultra-OCR member Perperis. Before we get to today's episode, a quick shout out to Vulpus Training Products. Vulpus Training Products make some great high-impact plastic products that can be used for cosplay, used for drilling. You can be used for wall displays, all sorts of good stuff. If you're following Tiga Tactics social media, if you're following Vulpus social media, you will often see us training with them, doing flow drills before or after seminars, messing around. Lots of great stuff on their website. Literally hundreds of products of all crazy different styles. So go check them out, vulpustraining.com. All right, today we're going to...
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, also, I was going to add, great for cosplay as well, too, if you're into that kind of stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah. All right, so today we are going to be talking about martial artists on social media. So martial arts etiquette, how to behave online, what that looks like, what some of our thoughts are, and then, like what we think are good tactics or behavior patterns. So, yeah, because I think when you look online, sometimes people get overly emotional or arguing. I guess should we be fighting a martial battle online? So let's start off with Conrad. Just kind of give some of your thoughts on some of the stuff you see on social media, and then we say what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, and how you personally deal with and navigate that.
Right. I think just like anything else, there are positive ways to approach it and some very negative ways to approach it as well, too. So if we can use it to our benefit and help use that as a tool for personal growth as well as growth of your friends and your community and bringing positivity to the world, I think that's a terrific vehicle, a terrific tool to be used. And at the same time, there's some very negative people out there that use it for possibly completely opposite reasons as well too. Maybe they have big egos or they have an agenda or a point to prove, and they can really make that the social environment very negative, very venomous, and so just how you approach it. Luckily, though, I would say the majority of people are good people online. It just takes a few bad apples there to ruin everything for people.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know the social media is a tool, just like any other tool, and tools can be used for good or they can be used for evil.
Mhm.
And you can use tools for self development, or you can use them to completely waste your time, right? Like I can watch martial arts videos online that teach me techniques, or I can watch cat videos. Um, maybe the cat videos for 5 minutes resets my brain, and then I can go be productive again. So, yeah.
I
What?
totally agree. Since we're on that point about learning, I think that's a terrific way to approach social media because whether you're talking YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, there's a lot of people putting out content out there. And it's a terrific way to research. So if there's certain system that you want to learn about or a certain culture or history about a part of a system you want to learn about, I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there that has put something together. And even if they haven't and you find some, I guess, expert or master, you could approach them and ask them to put something together for you because sometimes they will. And so using that social media as a tool to learn, I think is a great approach to it.
Absolutely. Especially, I mean, today's day and age, there's so much information, and you can get a lot of it for free on
Yeah.
YouTube before you even have to start paying anything. And then obviously usually for more, I've noticed that the stuff on social media tends to be very disjointed, right? So like I'm learning various random things at random times as opposed to going through a curriculum or a course, which is often a lot more structured, and it makes a lot more sense. But if you're not using social media to learn as well, I feel like you're missing a component of like the full picture.
Yes, and I want to talk about this stuff was not available in the 60s or 70s in the martial arts world. And in the martial arts world in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and maybe 90s, and even today, there's some styles and some groups that are from the camp of, hey, this is secret stuff. This is so deadly, we can't share it with the world, or else there'd be nuclear fallout or something like that. Yeah, and back in the 60s and 70s, it was like that. Like, you weren't supposed to show your forms, you weren't supposed to show your kata, you weren't supposed to show any techniques to anybody, and so now to have this new technology that breaks all that up, and you're able to see these once what were called closed door techniques or forms or systems even. It's just a really great time to be a martial artist, because any art that was I can't say any art, but many arts that were at one time secret or closed door, they're open now. And then some arts, there were certain sets or certain techniques that weren't supposed to be go outside the school at all, but now
Yeah,
you
that's
can
my
find them all over the place, these secret sets, secret forms, secret techniques. I'm sorry.
yeah, that's my understanding of Wing Chun's Buji form. It's supposed to be like super secret, and now you can go on YouTube right now and type in Buji. You can get the secret final form of Wing Chun for free
Yeah,
just
and
by
not only like one person's version, like many different versions.
Betty. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely true.
So it's just a great new world. And what you were saying about how things are kind of disjointed, yeah, I totally agree. It's kind of like buyer beware, just be aware that it is going to be disjointed. Although there are some channels that have almost like a complete free program on certain arts or combat sports or something like that. I do have to say I'm a big technique junkie with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. When I see something that's really weird, I just sit there and think, how did they do this? Let's watch this again. Oh, okay, their foot goes in, and then I have a grappling dummy. I try it on the dummy, and then I also sit around thinking, who came up with this move? And so yeah, it's really cool to be able to do that.
Speaking of, my friend Harut has posted some really interesting technique videos. I'll try to remember to drop a link to his Instagram in the show notes down below. Give him a follow. He's got some good. And if you want to see me get beat up, I'm the grappling dummy for basically all of his videos.
I'll say he has some pretty cool technique too.
He
I
does.
watch it and I thought, wow, these are cool.
He's a great training partner too. A great training partner. Um, So let's jump over to the social interaction, right? The social part of social media. I feel like there's a lot of hate, right? So you post a lot of content, you post a lot of techniques. Obviously, you can take any drill, and I can nitpick any drill. Oh, that's not going to work because of this. But some of them are developing attributes. There's other reasons to do drill besides to, like, do that exact movement in the middle of a real fight. How do you deal with people, haters, basically people coming in there, complaining about what you're doing, criticizing you, etc.
I understand them because yeah, I'll tell you what, I went through the same thing as a younger, more, I don't want to use the word immature, but I'll use that word. I was an immature person where I would sit around and criticize other people's technique or their approach to it. And it took some maturing for me to realize, you know, everyone has a different reason for learning martial arts. And their reason might not match up with your reason for wanting to do it. Yeah, I get it. A lot of the macho guys, the alpha males, they're just all like, oh, this would never work in a real fight. Or why are you even training that? That's not practical. I can't use that in a fight or in the cage or whatever. And I understand. I used to be there. I totally get you. So I kind of know where you are in your journey by the way you comment on my posts. But yeah, we need to recognize that everyone's reason for doing martial arts can be different. and they're all valid. So maybe one person who's training a certain kung fu system or a traditional art, let's say, that doesn't appear to be very effective, they're training it maybe for cultural reasons. They're training it
Mm.
maybe for just historical reasons. They might be training it just because they thought it looks cool. And we can't go and go, wow, I can't believe you're training that. What an idiot. No, we can't say that because they're training it for their own personal reason. And I think it's important to respect that. When we look at a video and we don't quote unquote approve of it, and so sometimes I get that with McDojo Life. I think sometimes he'll McDojo Life, I love their videos. They'll post a lot of these chi things, and I love how they're bringing it to the masses. Before the chi things was just in people's dojos or their basements or their garage, and they would do this, and their students would be like, "Oh my gosh, this person can walk on water, possibly." But now that it's being shown on McDojo Life, those chi things, it's kind of like. It looks almost silly, and so although sometimes he does post like some people kind of training funky, and I usually go on there and I try to defend the person, just saying, hey, I mean, we might not know what they're doing, we might not agree with this, but this sure beats sitting on the couch eating Cheetos, binging Netflix, and making fun of people. So I saw it's just if you're doing something in my book, you're doing something, you're off your butt, and you're doing stuff. I think that's a win.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent way to approach it. I also like to try to, when I look at something, and my at first glance I'm like, what in the, I'm in my mind I'm like, this is so stupid. I try to I try to be like, well, what's the context of this? Like maybe, yeah, like you said, why are they training? What's their fitness background? What are their goals? Or maybe like what specifically what attribute is this developing? That's what I try to look at it. And then generally, if I don't have anything nice to say, I just don't say anything. I
Right.
don't I don't like it. I don't share it. I don't comment. I'm just like, yeah. And I go about my day like nothing else, like nothing has changed, right? Um, what
E-
it,
Exactly. I mean, if someone just trains it for health reasons, that's good enough. That's good enough. And being healthy will definitely improve your odds of surviving a violent encounter. So if you're training it for just health, hey, more power to you.
let's go through what about when someone specifically comments on you, right? So you have a lot of videos on, you're doing Bagwaza, you're doing Silat, you're doing, we're doing flow drills of FMA, you're doing Tiga tactics, right? So the actual combative stuff. When someone says something negative, comments on one of your posts, how do you respond?
All right, first thing, it's funny because it's all written as well too. Sometimes it could just be a joke, like not like a joke in a bad way, like just a joke. And they're making a friendly joke almost. So if they said it to you in your face in contact, you would probably both laugh. But sometimes when we read things online and we just jump to this conclusion, like, oh boy, they're attacking me. So I think the first thing I try to figure out is this a real attack or are they just joking around? And so a lot of times I just look at it and I realize, oh, they're just making a comment or they're kind of joking around, no big deal. But I think some people they get very inflamed, right away. They're like, oh, somebody's attacking me, I'll attack them right back. So just really figure out, is this really an attack on you? And even then, if I'm like, oh wow, this is like something that, and I get this, it's so funny. It happens quite a bit with the Chinese martial arts. Oh, look at how you're stepping. Oh, look at your hand. It's not at 33 degrees or whatever. And I find that very interesting. I think one way to look at this, just not from my point of view, but from anyone's point of view. If you're doing a traditional martial art where you're doing, let's say, a form, and although it might be in your system and somebody's doing it differently or completely different, or what your teacher or your school might say is wrong, we can't say that that's wrong for them because maybe their teacher taught it that way to them and they're doing what their teacher was teaching them. So, for us to say, oh, this is the wrong way to do it, I think is overstepping our boundaries because in your school, it might be that way. And we need to also remember there's many different lineages and family lines and just different approaches. And it's important to when we're looking at it to respect that. So if somebody comes onto my page and they're like, "Oh, you're doing this set completely wrong," I'll just say I disagree with them because one thing I always try to do is try to look at from their point of view. In their mind, it is completely wrong. So I'll just say, "You're right, it's completely wrong," and I move on with my life, just like what you were talking about.
Yeah, I think occasionally I'll see a negative, not very actually not that often, but occasionally I see a negative post on your page or on Tiga Tactics, and you're always like, "Thanks for stopping by" or something, and I have totally stolen your model for dealing with people on social media. Um, I just respond positively
Hmm.
and I go about my day because honestly, like then I put no more energy into it. The person's not living rent free in my head. I'm not thinking about what I should have said. I'm just being like, thanks for stopping by the page, thumbs up, or whatever. And I go about it's for me. It's not only mentally easier for me as my future profession, right? Like it's a more Christian thing to do. And then it just again, I feel like with social media, you're not going to convince anyone to change their mind from Facebook comments. It's going to take a phone call, meeting in person, talking. Like it's going to take some like a little bit more effort than just like, hey, I read this person's Facebook comment and I completely changed my opinion on this issue that I've held for a really long time. So to me, it's not worth the time or effort to start a Facebook argument, regardless of how ridiculous or how wrong I may see things. So
Yeah, and you said it. It's public as well too. So if we get into the spat with some random person online, other people are gonna see it too, and they're gonna think, "My goodness, these two are kind of off."
yeah, yeah. I think t- talking in person where the tone can't be misunderstood, whether that's on phone,
Mhm.
FaceTime, preferably physically in person. That's my preferred, right? And then you can have a reasonable discourse without too much drama or people trying to get the volume or tone of your voice through social media pages. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting too. Like people when they're face to face with you, they act a lot different than when they're hiding behind their keyboard, behind
Oh
the
yeah,
screen
yeah.
as well too. So everyone's polite when it's face to face, but then behind the screen, behind your keyboard, people just somehow grow a pair, and they're just all over the place. But when they see you face to face, it's completely different.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, what else? What are some of your other social media etiquette thoughts here?
Okay, I think I talked about this a little bit, but I want to make sure that it's clear. Assume positive intent. So
Yeah.
API, I always try to just assume positive intent. So somebody says, "Oh, you're not doing this right," or "You could do this." Like, oh, hey, I'll learn from it. Yeah, and I'll think, "Oh yeah, maybe next time I should add more speed on my video, make it a little more flashy or something like that." So yeah, I assume positive intent, and I also try to recognize my ego too when it's coming up. So I can feel my ego coming into this when someone says, "Oh, you could be doing this better, or you could do this, or you could do that." I can feel my ego swelling. Like, who the heck are you? Why are you saying? Yeah, so it's also a great training tool and a lesson for you or us if we get a negative comment to see if our ego is rising and to be able to go, I wonder if there's any truth to what they're saying. Can what they're saying help me? And also maybe from their point of view, that's how they see it as well too. So it's all good. I'm sure all our listeners know, event happens. one person from one angle sees a completely different event than another person from a different angle. So I try to remember that as well too.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. Um, it's also while there is, I think, a very serious component of martial arts, right? Combative, self protection, self defense type stuff. Um, and as we talked about, some of it's art, some of it's because it looks cool, and sometimes I see adult, men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, right, arguing with people online, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, don't you have like families or like more important stuff to do, right? Like,
Right.
I'm as we've talked about multiple times on this podcast, I'm involved in a lot of like very obscure knife systems, and occasionally like drama will pop up, and I literally just like I will see drama and I'll be like, and I'm gonna mute that. I literally mute it. I don't like it disappears from my feed. I just like 50-year-old men are we gonna be arguing over like stabbing people? Like, what are we doing? What are we even doing?
Right,
Like,
right.
we should never even have to use that information. Like, it's good, good, obviously good to have that ability to protect yourself, but like, you're arguing over nuanced details of something that's largely hypothetical. And again, I think we have, if you're a martial artist, whether you do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, Aikido, Silat, karate, Muay Thai, um, Tai Chi, you have more in common with each other than you have different. And it's,
Absolutely.
especially when it comes to like weird, obscure knife systems, right? Like you get like you with the other knife. Yeah, I say this because I'm a knife weirdo myself. You and the other knife weirdos, 100% have more stuff in common than you have different. Like, it does. It's not a 1-to-1 overlap, but it's like a 95%, 95% overlap.
Right. Same thing with any other obscure system or even unobscure systems. You have more in common than in difference, 300%. And also, speaking of the arguments online, just remember, we talked about this before. This is all public stuff. People are watching, and there's the court of public opinion. If you're like arguing all the time or you're very immature, people are going to start to wonder about you. So just be careful about how we respond and how we comment on other people's as well too. So I also try to think like, what if my kids were reading this?
I that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, do you want them to see daddy arguing about how to stab somebody or whatever, or getting inflamed about someone saying, "Oh, your stance is too high or too low," or something like that?
Yeah, I don't comment stuff publicly that I wouldn't be okay to show my parents or my kids. That's like my general. That's a good like sanity check I make. Like, and then especially with today's day and age, unfortunately, like in the last month, we've seen several people pass away, and then they just like dig up their social media, and that's what gets kind of broadcast. So like, if something happened to you, God forbid, are you okay with your last comment online being
Hmm.
calling someone a
Oh
name
no.
and
Yes.
telling them their stance was wrong, right?
Right, right. And also, if you can't think of anything positive to respond to this person, there's a little button that says hide. So you can hide that person's comment on your post. And I've done that a few times where was totally inappropriate. There was nothing positive I could say to this, and I just hit hide.
Yeah, another good technique there. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Why don't we talk about some of the positive things that can come from this? And again, we talked about the pitfalls, getting into these arguments, doom scrolling, just wasting your time online. And we talked about one positive thing was to learn. I want to talk about another positive thing. I've made a lot of friends online. And I'll go to an event like Dragon Fest, and people will come up to me. Oh, hey, remember me? We had this discussion on this and that. Oh, yeah, okay, nice to meet you in person. So yeah, I've made a lot of connections, a lot of friends. I've also had people approach me to do seminars. Oh, I see your posts all the time. Would you do a seminar here or there? And so yeah, make friends and enjoy that community.
Yeah, absolutely. I've made so many good connections online, exponentially more positive than negative. And I just went to a Western Piper seminar and slash Medusa seminar, and I met guys who I'd been training with online for 2 years at this point, and it was cool to meet them in person. I found you guys through online, right? I wouldn't have become a part of Tiga Tax if it wasn't for the social media uh, and your online courses. The Tiga Tactics Team Tiga Tactics Facebook group, right? All that stuff. Yeah, just so many overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly positive. You just have to make sure you don't get sucked into uh, the black hole of social media and the negative stuff sometimes.
Yeah, and I know some martial artists and just not just martial artists, but others in general that say, I don't do social media. I don't like to be online, da da da. I understand. I respect that point of view. I also think there's a lot of benefits if we use it in a beneficial way. So these are the things that we're talking about here. So if any of our listeners, if you're like, hey, I'm not part of Facebook, I'm not part of this or that, I totally respect your viewpoint on that. Although I'd encourage you to give it a shot and just focus on the positive things, making some friends, learning something new. Those are great reasons just to do that.
Yeah, yeah. You can control your. It does require a little bit of self discipline, but you can control your feed, control who you're friends with, and
Mhm.
control who you follow, and use that as a resource to find other people, like minded people who have similar training goals for martial arts. Absolutely.
Right. And I don't want to tell you, I'm the social media saint. I have found myself doom scrolling and then 15 minutes into it, I'm thinking, what the hell? I'm just scrolling for fun now. I mean, I gotta take a deep breath, remind myself not to do this stuff. And so, yeah, it's I hear, the algorithms there to addict you to it. And so it does take some self-control not to go too deep down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. How do you feel about martial artists purposely making very provocative comments just to get right? Because somebody, if I say something ridiculous about a system or a style, um, it gets a lot of traction, and then people start commenting, and then people start commenting the commenting. How do we feel about provocative comments about other styles and systems?
Yeah, it's a lot of the more popular accounts. Yeah, they really know how to push people's emotional buttons and be piss people off, basically, and get very controversial. Uh, I I don't know how to think about that because I can see it from both sides. Well, it takes controversy and discomfort to grow. And at the same time, they are really just playing around with people's emotions. Well, what do you think of it?
I mean, it's a good business move. You're playing the algorithm, and you're
Hmm.
getting views, and then ideally,
Comments, yeah,
it's
arguments.
ideally it's leading them towards a product you're selling or a system or a style.
Hmm.
Uh, it's not me. I don't like. I understand I think that's the best way to get the most amount of views and the most amount of traction. It's not who I am, and I'm not willing to do that for me personally. And maybe
Hmm.
you're like, well, Evan, that's a dumb business move. Well, okay, but martial arts is not my primary business. It's not how I make the most of my money. So I can be a little more picky with how I present myself online. So
Right.
like so I guess I get it. It's just not my style, and I'm not mad at those guys for doing that. It's just not me, not how I want to present myself online.
Right. I agree. I agree. Although once in a while I will go controversial a little bit just to vent, but otherwise, yeah, I want to keep it professional. I want to. My whole thing is spreading the love, spreading the positivity. I often comment, I'm just spreading the martial arts love because it's funny. People who don't train martial arts, they think we're just here to punch each other in the face or throw each other to the ground and wrestle them or something like that. Uh, there's so much positive benefits to training martial arts, and I want to. So that leads me right into my next point. I post I have I look at my Instagram posts. I have well over 1,000 something posts, coming close to 2,000 posts. And my whole reason is to encourage and inspire people to do martial arts. So if you've never considered doing martial arts, I hope that some people who have seen my account go, wow, this is kind of a cool thing. It's he's talking about health and fitness and culture and just learning something new. And hopefully that'll encourage some people to look at martial arts from a different viewpoint, other than we're just violent Neanderthals. And so I want to encourage people who've never even thought of doing martial arts to do martial arts. And that's why, we often use the word martial arts nerds, because nobody fears a nerd, right? And so I use that, and I try to show people that we're just like everybody else. And so if you've never done martial arts, give it a look, give it a try. It'll change your life, I guarantee it. And if you're only training half-assed or in and out kind of, oh, I'm sure you've met some people who are like, oh, I train once in a while, or I train whenever I can. I want to encourage those people to get back into it and do it regularly. I really believe 3 times a week is bare minimum if you want to improve in any art. Of course, we're all different. We all have different responsibilities. So if once a week or twice a week is your thing, that's fine as well too. But if you can, 3 times a week or more, that would be perfect. And then, of course, if you are training already 3 times a week, 4 times, 5 times, or you're training different arts at different days, I want to be able to be here to encourage and inspire you to continue doing that, because it is, I believe, it's the best thing for everybody. Martial arts is the best thing, bar none, because you'll get the benefits of brain health, of physical fitness. You'll get the benefits of strengthening and flexibility. You'll get all those benefits. And along with those benefits, you'll get to learn about different cultures, like your obscure knife systems, about South African criminal culture. That's kind of interesting. Nothing that I'm sure our listeners want to participate in, but it's kind of fascinating in a weird way. But so just learning from a different culture, a different aspect. There's just so many benefits. Even the food. I learned Muay Thai. I want to eat more Thai food. I learned Silat from Indonesia. I'm really curious about Indonesian food. I love the food as well too. And then the language as well too. A lot of traditional arts, they have you count in that language, greet each other, thank each other. So you'll pick up a little bit of the language as well too. There's so many benefits to learning martial arts. So that's the reason I post. I want to encourage other people. I want to inspire people to either start training, get back to regular training, or if they're training regularly, please continue training.
Well, I think you're doing a good job. You've definitely inspired me and all of your different styles and systems and ability to maintain all of them. Definitely inspirational. And if any of our listeners are listening, and you follow Conrad and you like some of his content, or my content, or the Tiga Tactics content, or Patrick's content, make sure you share it. Share it to your own social media channel, right? The way we spread the martial arts love is by sharing interesting content, and then people are like, oh, I see you doing, flower drills with double swords, or I see you doing a Heaven Six with, Vulpus training products, and I want to learn how to do that just because it looks cool, and for no other reason other than for fun. Share it around so people see it, and it develops that interest. I know I've gotten walking around seminary. Occasionally, I get comments about some of like the martial arts videos I post, which I think is funny and amusing. Because they're just like, I've never seen anyone do that. I didn't know that was a thing. It's like, oh yeah, this is what we do for fun sometimes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you're not doing it, come join us.
All right, I think that touched on most of the major stuff. Anything we need to do before we kind of wrap it up?
No, no. This is a fun episode. I didn't think I'd really get into it so much, but I've seen it change my life for the positive, and I think if we use it positively, it can lead to more personal growth. Of course, there's so much negativity and pitfalls to go into. So just stay on the positive side, use it for personal growth, personal development, and I think it can benefit your life.
Yeah. What do we got coming up in October for Tiga Tactics?
And so in October, we have if this hasn't happened yet, the first weekend of October 4th and 5th, I'm in Maryland for a CLOT seminar. It's going to be super nerdy if you're into knives, if you're into CLOT, if you're into just learning a different art that you might not have any idea about. It's these arts are from Indonesia, and Indonesia was a big trade route between China and India. So there's Indian martial arts influence as well as Chinese martial arts influence mixed in with the indigenous villages and islands of Indonesia. So come and join us for that. October 18th and 19th, we're down in Southern California at Rounders for our, here we go again. I gotta take a deep breath. Ready? Tiga Tactics Toolset Training Tour. All right, and
Oh,
some,
that's good.
yeah,
Such good alliteration.
we're gonna delve into the tool set of your EDC or your everyday carry equipment, whether that's a pan, a flashlight, uh, a blade. We might even talk a little bit about firearms as well too, and then also how to use makeshift improvised weapons as well too. So if you pick up a brick, you pick up a rock, you pick up a hammer, you pick up a metal water bottle, it doesn't really matter. You'll be able to use it effectively to help defend yourself or the ones you love.
Amazing. Awesome stuff. If you want more of my content, head over to my website, teamstrengthspeed.com, or my Patreon page, patreon.com/GreekCombatives. I just launched a bunch of rewards as far as like people who are part of my Patreon, kind of like things you can earn, a belt buckle, patch, PVC patch, etc., for participating in various martial arts. Details are up on my Patreon and up on my website in the fighting section. You'll see the awards and kind of certificate area that can explain all that. So a lot of cool options coming up for people who are interested. And my books are available, Combatives Blueprint, as well as Run If You Can, Destroy If You Must. And then I also have my Western Piper Methods book. So got a lot of excellent content for you guys. So make sure you check it out.
And you recently hit a milestone for your Patreon page, didn't you? So many posts.
Oh, yeah. Hit over 300. I got 300 posts
Woo!
on there now. Yeah.
That's a lot. So if you're not currently keeping up, you got a lot of homework to do.
It's like preposterous. The price point is preposterous. I should have charged more more at the beginning, uh, but now I feel bad like raising the prices. So I'm like, all right, I'll just leave it as is. So for $10 a month, I mean it's ridiculous. You're getting a ridiculous amount of information. And currently, we're going through live classes covering Medusa Evolution for anyone who wants to jump on now. If you wait to jump on, then the live classes end up going behind a larger paywall, basically like after 2 months. So. You'll eventually have to pay more if you wait. So I would recommend getting in early. And we are doing some certifications for people who are interested in Western Piper or Medusa. So all that is through Patreon.
Yeah, I'm participating in those live classes. Definitely worth the price of admission. Just quick question. Are you planning on, and I'm a nerd. I'm a big fan of the Shaolin monks and how religion mixes in with all this martial arts and stuff. Are you going to be sharing any religious type posts coming up here?
I have not any scheduled, but I have like a list of stuff on my phone that I need to
Mhm.
just sit down and record. One of them I was actually thinking of doing is actually like a church safety video, like a longer deep dive. But then
Wow.
I've also got a couple of like short content videos, 5 to 10 minutes, that talk about like spirituality and martial arts. So yes, it's nothing. I haven't recorded any of it yet and scheduled it, but um, always available as well.
I'm really looking forward to that. And maybe if you could also share, or we could do this in a podcast in the future, share some of your fitness tips and how that relates to martial arts, all the endurance training you've done, and anything that you can pull from that world and help martial artists or self-defense people be more effective at what they're doing.
Absolutely, yeah. That's another good idea. I haven't dived into that too much on the Patreon page. It is in my competitive blueprint a little bit, some of it, but yeah, I can definitely get some good videos going there. And then, like Conrad is doing right now, if you're a part of the Patreon, you can request information, and then I can produce videos on that. So Get signed up. Before we go, if we have time, we won a contest recently,
Oh yeah.
and I forgot to give a shout out in the last episode. Let's talk about the contest we won. So there's a Stay Sharp Summer 25. So for 6 weeks, you had to train with a partner. You could be a different partner every week, and you had to follow their directions for Dynamis Alliance. One of my favorite. It's my favorite designer blade company, hands down. They make the nicest products, but they are very pricey. And they end up picking one of the winners for one of the weeks, and they picked me and you from one of the weeks we posted.
I know.
So
Thank you, Dynamis Alliance.
so me and you got a free Dynamite Alliance blade, which are like $300, $400. There, one I picked was like 300. I think the one you picked was like 400. And they sent my first choice. Did they send your first choice as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Their customer service, class A1, they asked me what I wanted, and they even said, "Oh, you're in California. Do you want just a single edge?" Yeah, they were spot on, and it came quickly. It was well packaged.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah, I made an unboxing video if you'd like to have a look at it. And I've always eyeballed this, but I never pulled the trigger on a Dynamis blade because I just thought, oh my gosh, this is pretty expensive. And even though I want this, I'm still like on the fence about ever using it because, like what you said, it is pricey, but man, it is durable.
It's so nice.
Once you hold it in your hand, you can just feel how durable this thing is. It would take quite a bit to break this blade. So it's one of the best blades out there.
Yeah, the one you got, the Dynamis blade, is what I carried my last year in the military. I got it, and I was like, oh, this would be like a retirement present. And then I was like, well, this is too nice for me to wait. I'm just gonna carry it all the time now. So nice. And the one I got I already own the Dynamis blade. I got the Midnight Crusader. So it is a all black
Hmm.
Crusader blade. So it's got a edge on one side, and then on the back, it's almost got like a almost like a hook, kind of like a cutout on the back side of the blade.
Hmm.
Because when they use it for their template, they actually do arm drags with the back of the blade. So they kind of hook your tricep and pull your arm forward. Um, Super nice. So you can head over my YouTube page, youtube.com @Ultra-OCR Man, or it's the Strength and Speed YouTube channel. I've got an unboxing video as well, and I've got reviews coming out for all of their blades on my YouTube channel as well. So I did an unboxing video for the first time because I wasn't 100% positive what was in the box. Um, because they told me to pick a couple items, and they'd send me one. So
Hmm.
I did it. I did unboxing because it was legitimately a surprise when I opened the box. So, um, but you'll be able to see the packaging, and then I know Conrad, you've got yours on your social media page as well, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. If you don't know about Dynamis Alliance or you've never checked out their courses or their tools, have a look. They only carry the tier 1 level equipment.
Absolutely. Cool. We'll drop some links down below. Yeah, and check it out, and then we will see you guys in the next episode.
All right, bye everybody.